That's why Jesus says what he does in Matthew 6. So he talks about where our treasure is, our heart will be also. Then he goes into in 6:24 says you can't serve two masters. You'll either love one and hate the other, or be devoted to one and despise the other. You can't serve both God and Mammon. And then immediately after that, he says, because of this, it's often translated there, therefore, but it's because of this, that is because you can't serve two masters. He says, don't be anxious about your life, what you're going to wear, what you're going to eat, all those kinds of things. There's this close link between Mammon, worship of Mammon, and anxiety and fear. Because that's one of the things that also drives grind culture and hustle culture and all that kind of thing. It's because of, in many ways, the fear of poverty, which ultimately boils down to the fear of death. That's what this really comes down to. And so then the question is, do you trust God to deal with you in your fear of death, or do you essentially pile up wealth for yourself in order to essentially attempt immortality on your own? And the answer to that we're given in the scriptures is in Hebrews 2, when we're told the reason for the incarnation. We're told that the Son of God took on flesh to free those who all their lives were held in slavery to the fear of death. Like, that's the fundamental purpose of the incarnation, was to free us from our slavery to the fear of death. That is, Christians ought to be a fearless people who, when we go through our lives and Christ has called us to do things that may seem ridiculous to the world, that fear is not a reason to not do what Christ has called us to do, because there's nothing for us to be afraid of. Christ on the cross has defeated the powers and principalities. He's embarrassed them, according to Colossians 2. And so we as the people of God are then called to live lives that actually bear witness to the fact that Christ has done those things. And so the question is, are we going to look to God for that salvation, for that security, or are we going to go to Mammon?